right now there are a lot of people on the left celebrating the banning of Donald Trump, and hundreds of thousands of other people on Twitter. They're celebrating that Parler was shut down. They're celebrating that Amazon pulled its services and all this other stuff. And they're missing the bigger picture. But the thing of it is I've been telling you guys over the last several days, I've actually been getting a lot of DMs and emails and texts from people on the left who I have not heard from in months, who are saying to me, Carlin, what is going on is really concerning me. And hallelujah, we have people that are finally starting to see the bigger picture, that this has nothing to do with Donald Trump, that the arguments about free speech, free expression, the right to protest, the right to assemble, this has nothing to do with Donald Trump and everything to do with protecting all of us. And the ACLU, it sometimes comes from the oddest places, doesn't it? Because the ACLU had basically stopped defending free speech entirely to focus on crazy left-wing progressive issues. But it seems as though they still do have a couple of people working at the ACLU who actually care about civil liberties. And even they are coming out opposed to what this is doing. This is from The Independent. ACLU warns of unchecked powers of big tech for banning Trump amid calls for an investigation of Amazon, Google, and Apple. The American Civil Liberties Union has warned the unchecked power of the big tech companies to deplatform a U.S. president could be turned against anyone to discriminate against political speech on social media. The warning comes amid calls for a racketeering investigation as Donald Trump and his supporters become depersoned from Twitter and Facebook, while competing platform Parler was booted from Amazon, Apple, and Google. Now listen, I actually have a member of my locals community. First off, if you're not in my locals community yet, you're going to want to get onto my locals community, because this is one of the platforms that will be completely insulated from censorship, from bannings, because of how it's being built and how it operates. The information for my locals community is literally right underneath me. Locals is free to join. You can get all my videos ad-free on my locals. It is completely free to join. The only thing is that in order to keep the community safe, in order to keep the trolls out, the bullies, all the things that we have to deal with on other parts of social media, if you want to participate in discussions, you have to chip in, and it starts at $5 a month in my particular community. Now, if you want a free month just to try it out to see if it's something that you liked, you can use the promo code free speech, all one word, free speech, to get a free month off. But definitely join my locals community. At least get in there for free. And that way it doesn't cost you anything. You can kind of see what it is and then decide later if you want to join. But I bring this up because here is the thing. A member of my locals community posted yesterday in the group that she had been banned off of Twitter. Now, Twitter made this big announcement yesterday that they've only banned 70,000 conspiracy theorists, and you guys all know the conspiracy theory I'm talking about that I'm not allowed to say. They banned all those people, but the thing of it is I actually know people who have gotten banned on Twitter, and they were not the conspiracy theorists. This member of my locals community that got banned, they accused her of spamming and platform manipulation. She barely even used Twitter, and she is like the least conspiratorial person I've ever met. So they are lying. What they are doing is they are taking out smaller conservative accounts, and they're going to work their way up until they start to get to people like me. So this is going to become even more important to make sure that you are following people on different platforms. I am on locals. I am on Gab, I am on Minds, I will be on Parler when it comes back online, I am on CloudHub, but Locals is really going to be my home base because it is simply the place that I feel safest, that will not all of a sudden disappear one day. But it is not just the ACLU that has a problem with this. Oh my God, look at this. Leaders in Europe are having a problem with it. This from Forbes. Problematic and perplexing. European leaders side with Trump over Twitter ban. Well, resoundingly condemning last week's violence in Washington, D.C., several high-profile European leaders, including German Chancellor Angela Merkel, have objected to social media companies like Facebook and Twitter banning the president, suggesting that it violates his right to free speech, and arguing that governments, not private companies, should be in charge of regulating big tech. Now, listen, I've made this point on several of my live streams lately, but I can't make the assumption that everyone watches every single thing I do because I know I put out a lot of stuff. But here's what I need everyone to understand. Regardless of whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or a progressive or an anarchist or whatever you are, what has happened in this scenario is that big tech has made it very, 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 very clear to everyone that they are more powerful than the government. That big tech, who no one elected, is more powerful than the people that you elected to represent you. And that is true regardless of whether you like Donald Trump or not. And if they can come for one world leader, they can come for all of them. And even scarier than that, they can come for all of you too. They get to decide, not you. They have taken the power completely out of the hands of the people. And that should terrify everyone. You know, listen, I had to listen on the left to how the world was becoming Handmaid's Tale and it was just going to be the way it was and we were all going to be wearing these cloaks before we knew it. Well, the fact of the matter is that didn't happen under Donald Trump's presidency because Donald Trump is not a dictator. But it absolutely could happen when you put the most amount of power in the hands of a few corporate overlords who no one elected and who no one can remove. This should scare everyone. Merkel, via spokesperson on Monday, said that Trump's Twitter ban was very problematic and that the fundamental right to freedom of opinion should be determined by the rule of law and government, not according to the decision of the management of social media platforms. I don't know how to pronounce this person's name. Breton, the European Commissioner for Internal Market and a key figure in Europe's effort to regulate big tech, wrote in Political that the fact that a CEO can pull the plug on POTUS's loudspeaker without any checks and balances is perplexing. Breton said it confirmed the power of these platforms and highlighted the shortcomings of Washington and other governments to regulate digital space, which he says is currently reminiscent of the Wild West. Bruno Le Maire, France's finance minister, said he was shocked by Twitter's decision to ban Trump, adding that digital regulation should not be done by the digital oligarchy and is a matter for the sovereign people, governments, and judiciary. Britain's health minister, Matt Hancock, said tech companies were now taking editorial decisions, adding that it is very clear that platforms are choosing who should and shouldn't have a voice on the platform. So this is not just Trump supporters who are screaming about this. Anyone who says that it is lying. This should be the common ground that we can all find. And I'm serious here, folks. Like, I've been actually seeing a lot of progressive. Shoe on Head actually tweeted that she thought this was insane. And I tweeted back at her, fine, let's align on this issue and we can fight about the other stuff later. Because if we don't align on this issue, we won't have any place to discuss the other issues later. This is fundamental to everything else. And listen, the market is seeing this too. This from The Hill: Twitter stock plunges after Trump Twitter ban. Look, they're even trying to get everyone on their email. They're like, oh my God, we could lose our Twitter too. Twitter stock plunged roughly 7% on Monday following the company's decision Friday evening to permanently ban President Trump from the platform. The declining share value puts the company on course to lose about $2.5 billion in market value, Reuters reported. Twitter's stock price decreased more than Facebook's, which saw a 3% drop on Monday. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. No, I don't hate to see it at all. I hope that these platforms either die a slow, horrible death or they get regulated very, very, very quickly. We're going to see what happens. I don't know, man. We just got to hang on to our hats and wait this one out. But in the meantime, again, guys, I really want to make sure, like, join my locals. It will be the safest place that you know you will be able to find me. If you aren't ready to sign up for a paid account just yet. Again, it only starts at $5 a month, so it's like a cup of coffee, man. But I completely understand if you aren't ready to do that just yet, but at least get in there, get your account. There's so many other awesome creators on Locals. Obviously, it's Dave Rubin's platform. He's on there. Michael Malice is on there. Scott Adams is on there. Adam Krigler is on there. Mikey Harlow is going to be on there at some point if he ever gets his act together, but I know he's working on it. There's so many awesome people that are going to be on Locals because it is going to be the place that we can actually talk about ideas and not worry about censorship. And I gotta say too, YouTube is actually being pretty good to me. They haven't demonetized any of my content around the Capitol, which is actually really surprising to me. And so I have to give YouTube props as well. I do daily content around news, politics, culture, all that good stuff. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, all that good stuff. That's all I've got for right now. I'll see you soon.